Okay. Hi, I'm Beck Lane, and this is Catalyst and Company. Catalyst and Company, where we're catalysts in each other's lives as well as catalysts in our own. And hopefully, we become the artists we've always wanted to be through community and discussion in the comment section and just by connecting. By connecting. You know, a number of years ago, I did a video when I had a studio way up in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and that was actually called Studio 120, which was the name of this YouTube channel and all the videos, Studio 120. And that's how it got its original name. I changed it a couple of years ago now, I think, because Studio 120, my feelings toward it had gotten so negative and down and dire and dour that I needed to change it. I don't really love the name Catalyst and Company. I would really prefer saying, hi, I'm Beck Lane, and this is Studio 120. I love the way it rolls off my tongue, but it's still, because of the progression of things over the years and how I've never been able to, you know, I've always had the promise of things taking off and, you know, just wanting to take everyone with me on a rocket ship going upwards. I still have that sour feeling of the rocket ship going down and me just trying to hang on, and that's what Studio 120 turned into, and thus we changed it to Catalyst and Company. Again, I find it a little hokey and I don't really love it, but there we are. It's what I came up with and we're going to stick to it, damn it. Oh my god, I totally forgot where I was going. Oh, I know. So I did a video in Pawtucket in my actual Studio 120. This, I think it was 600 square foot space that I had with Northern Light. It was a really old mill building where they made sails and cloth for sails and sails. And I was in a razor-toothed section of the mill. This razor tooth means that well, actually, in your view, it would be this. The roof is like this. It's over each section of the building. There's a little pointed rise with glass. Well, then glass. Now that it's more plastic windows, so that you're catching the northern light. It was the best lit studio I've ever seen and ever been in, and it was such a pleasure. And then, of course, my life started going downhill. That once again, the rocket ship went. That's where things started to go really bizarre. But anyway, with my art. But anyway, great lit studio. Loved it so much, and that's where I started making these videos. It was in Studio 120. And I made this one video I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I don't know the number. I don't really remember it, what number or where it is in order. I may try and remember to find a link for it, but it was all about we don't know what we mean to each other. It was a story, I think about, it was Meryl Streep meeting Barbara Streisand, I believe. It's a story. Anyway, it's one of my long stories, and how the actress was dismissed by this woman that she had looked up to forever and finally had a chance to meet. And here they are, two famous people face to face, and instead of being gracious, the higher level star was rude. And it affected the somewhat lower level artist. It was either Meryl Streep or Gwen or something. It was somebody. It was two somebodies equaling two big somebodies in our eyes. But to this larger star, this one below her didn't something, her attention. Hadn't earned her respect or whatever. Who knows why she was dismissive. But I've been thinking a lot about that lately, and not the negative end of the video, but the video where it's like we don't know what we mean to each other. And a lot of times I'm in my studio, like you, alone, like all of us, all artists, alone, which I personally don't mind. I like being alone. I like working on my own. People have made me very tired and burnt me out, and just, I like being alone. I like being alone. I have, hopefully like you, I have a good sense of direction, somewhat good sense of direction. I'm self-guided in my work. I'm self-disciplined. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm disciplined. I'm fairly disciplined. Pretty well disciplined. And so being alone means I get to be productive. But I can be so productive that I want to run out of product, I run out of supplies. And then I sit here and I go, how can I fix this? Because I do my best to make sales, but they're undependable. In fact, I just had one, I've had one that's been dangling there for 2 months. The work was done. We did not take a deposit on it for whatever reason. And that's not the way I like to operate, but we did not take a deposit on it. It was a handshake and a smile that I would do the work and they would purchase it, and here it is sitting in my studio. So in my little room, waiting for the buyer to follow through. So things like that really weigh on me. By the way, if you're a newer artist, don't let that happen. Always get a deposit. 50% deposit, non-refundable. That's it. 25 or 50% deposit, non-refundable. So if you do the work, and they don't follow through, you have that. You and your gallery or your rep or just you alone have that. Because verbal commitment is fine. Financial commitment means that they're invested in it. They're actually invested in it. And it's very rare that people don't follow through with me. But when they do, it can be pretty devastating. I've been holding my breath for 2 months now, and it puts me in a state where I'm in a constant. I have anxiety attacks. I get super depressed because this is what I'm getting to. Is I get to a point where I go, why? Why? I fall into that, we'll call it a Vincent hole. Our friend Vincent Van Gogh was just like, what is the problem? What is the problem? I'm doing the work. What is wrong with people? So anyway, I'm going to move on to this, the lighter end of it. So I get into that hole, and then out of the blue, people like my new friend Brian, who I actually don't know, he just contacted me the other day and helped me to get canvas. My friend Bill, who has the same last name as me, coincidentally, Bill and I have been friends for 8 or 9 years now. He's sending me a Father's Day gift of transparent earth red and Neo McGilb. Eric, my friend Eric Carter, the painter in Rhode Island, Eric, are you still in Rhode Island? Anyway, Eric sent me 4 bottles of Neo McGilb several months ago. My friend Linda, who reached out to me last year and was like, I watch your videos all the time, and I just want to say thank you. Kerry, the gentleman that referred to at the end of every video, he's in Australia. He sent me, he's helped to support me, at several different times, and it's always out of the blue. It is always out of the blue. And it usually, sorry, I make it teary, these things happen on days when I am really down, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you. My friend Shelley Graham Turner, who sent me an iPad, this was years ago, this is probably 6 years ago. My iPad was smashed to shreds and wasn't working at all, and Shelley sent me an iPad. Then I started having trouble with that one, and I happened to mention it because I couldn't post anymore. I couldn't do anything. It wasn't working well enough to run videos. I still use it. In fact, it's sitting right over there behind me. I still use her iPad, but my friend Daniel, who's a fabulous illustrator, a fabulous colorist, like a genius level, he sent me an iPad. That one died because things die around me, electronic things do. You know, there just have been, and I think about him all the time. I think about Shelley all the time. I think about my Patreon supporters all the time, because without you, I wouldn't have the iPad that we're using. Without you, I wouldn't have, I would be so alone in the world. And again, I don't mind being alone, but then there's severe isolation, the isolation that our friend Vincent went through, that eventually just ate him alive. So I just want to say I really appreciate all the support. Stacy in North Carolina, Stacy and Josh have done so much for me. My friend Catherine here in Sarasota. My friend Lori, who's a wonderful painter here in Sarasota as well. Lori Childers, Childers. Fabulous painter. I look up to her. She gave me tubes of paint a few months ago, and it was on the day when I was really struggling. And it astounds me that on days that I'm really struggling, that someone will just think of me. And it's not what you give me, although it's help. You know, the gifts are, when I get a gift, it's such a shock and such a surprise and so incredibly timely and helpful. But it's knowing that you're thought of. Just knowing that you're thought of sometimes. So these canvases came from my friend Brian, from our friend Brian, who has apparently been watching these videos for a while and never commented before. I didn't know. I don't have a lot of followers. I have over, I think, 1,300 or something. So it's not like a high level of subscribers or people that watch the videos, but I don't really care. What I care about is community. And I know people have connected through this channel. You know, watching this channel. Look at this. 48 by 48. This is going to be super fun. I know people have formed friendships and they share ideas and all kinds of things. Back to Bill, my friend Bill Lane. He's the one I've quoted in my promotion material and on my brochures and on my website. He's the one who 8 or 9 years ago wrote me an email and said, I believe it was an email, it was something anyway, said you are the love child, you and your artwork are the love child of Vincent Van Gogh and a Russian graffiti artist. You and your art are the love child of Vincent Van Gogh and a Russian graffiti artist. And I thought that was so spectacular. I use it all the time. And it really, again, helped lift me at a date and a time when I was really sad. So we never know how we can affect each other. Let's see. In fact, I was talking with Bill last night on Facebook, and we were talking about this. Stacking canvases or using 2 canvases to make up one big one. Okay, I'm not loving the angle of this camera. But anyway, I love doing this. I can't paint on one big canvas all the time, although I will on that 48 by 48. But one little canvas drives me insane. So I'm going to be doing that. I was thinking of stacking, but right now I'm looking at this kind of bows in the middle, and sometimes that happens. These aren't the best canvases in the world. These are from Michaels, and until tomorrow they're buy one, get 2 free, so they're basically 30% off. Yeah, I'm going to have a gap no matter how I do this. So they're not the best. They're not the best. The frames are not the best. but I love the rough texture in the canvas, and I love the gesso. I've talked about this before. Other companies, they have pre-stretched canvases. Blick, I love, but they're extremely expensive to me, and they're in Tampa. So it's an 1.5-hour ride to go to the store and pick up things that are out of my price range right now, or to have them shipped. Oh my God, having anything shipped is ridiculous in normal times, let alone now. So I've got a Michaels right around the corner, and this is what I use. I love, oh, I forgot, I was talking about the canvas. I love the Michaels canvas. I love the Blick canvas. There was one of, Soho Art Materials in Brooklyn and in Soho, South Houston. So Soho in New York, great canvases, great frames. And I know there's people in town who will do this, build frames and stretch, but again, you can only afford what you can afford. So yeah, these were buy one, get two free. So 30% off. That gap is not good. And anyway, I'm standing in Michael's, and I talked to the manager, who's a friend of mine, Jess, and I said, you've only got one of that, two of those, one of that. What can we do? And she said, well, just mix and match. If you get those two, we'll figure it out. We'll give you the discount and figure it out. And she did. At first I was like, wait a minute, but don't you have to buy the same size? It was totally stuck in my head. And it ended up working out really, really well, because I wouldn't want 3 of this particular size. They're too skinny. It's too much of a bow. So it ended up working out perfectly anyway. So now we just gotta find a way to make this work. And then we'll start to put on the black gesso. Gap. There was another painting I did a few months ago that was a boy on a hobby horse. And there was graffiti in the background by my friend Tyler at Black Lamp Tattoo. He had put it together. This gap went from a thin gap like this has, where it's just mildly distracting, to overnight the frames shrunk in the middle and did like an hourglass thing. And I came out and looked at it and went, oh my God, the painting was all done. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? So I had a stretcher cut that I thought I could kind of hammer in, hammer one stretcher bar into the middle of each frame and get it to punch out. Worked great in one of the canvases. Hammered it in, fit perfectly. Went to put the second one in the second canvas, the stretcher bar right in the middle, and it was a 1/16 to maybe an 1/8 of an inch too wide. So I just kept hammering it in, and when the buyer came to pick up the painting, I was like, wah, 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 let me show you what I did. And she just laughed. She was so good about it. She's like, this will be a story for the pedigree. Okay. Side to side is not going to work. This is a downfall, by the way, of doing 2 canvases. Is that gap that you can sometimes get. I think that'll work. That'll be fine. That'll work great. I'm going to show you the image. As long as we're kind of just hanging out and talking, I'm going to show you the image I'm going to be working on. Let me give you some information on it first. It's an African-American boy sitting on a toy hobby horse. It's an image I've wanted to paint for a long time. Well, I've been building this portfolio of images of pretty arrogant, privileged white boys on hobby horses. I've been waiting to find the perfect image of anyone else, anyone other than a white boy sitting on a hobby horse, or white girls, that would kind of be kind of help bring the whole portfolio together with an exclamation point. I did paint one. It wasn't hobby horses, 3 girls sitting on piggies in a merry-go-round, and it just, like, the image kills me. So I added that to the white boys on hobby horses portfolio. But this is going to be going with it. This young African-American boy who was photographed somewhere between 1897 and 1917. 1897 and 1917 in Worcester, Massachusetts, by a gentleman named William Bullard. William Bullard was a photographer who hopped on his bicycle and photographed the African American community in a section called Beaverbrook, and this was one of the images that came out of it. I've been looking at other images that William Bullard took to maybe work from, but in the meantime, we have this fellow, and now I've got to find his name, so he has a proper name. But in the meantime, let's just get these laid out in the black, basic black gesso. I have Liquitex gesso here that I'm using, mixed with a little bit of water, because the thick gesso I don't really like very much. I also don't like Liquitex gesso. By that by, I prefer Blick or anything else. This stuff is a little plastic in smell and feel. So I'm laying down the black and white swipes. First I do them with the black gesso mixed with a little bit of water, and then when I get it all in place, then I start removing some of the gesso. Because as we've talked about, it's not just about adding paint. Painting isn't just about adding paint. It's what you don't use, what you don't say, that will also affect the viewer and the work. Let's do this. I don't like to do, when I'm painting, as I usually do on 2 different canvases, I don't really like the canvases to be linked up through the swipes. I don't like matchy-match. I don't think it's interesting. I'm trying to develop a little bit of more of a puzzle to work from. So, Brian, what's really nice about what you did was, I have a really hard time working on one project, one painting only. I have to have multiples going, or I can't think. I'm too focused on the one canvas to think. And that's what's happened. There's a painting down here that I started reworking a little bit, and I was becoming too focused. And I believe in giving your mind time to relax, and by doing other jobs, by working on other projects, my mind is relaxing. Now, as you can tell, none of these swipes have a rhyme or reason. They're just there to provide a puzzle, provide energy for me to work off of later when I'm laying down the aerosols. Love that, but it's okay. Hello. I was talking to my friend Bill last night. Bill Lane, once again, the Vincent van Gogh Russian graffiti artist friend. And he, oh no, it was Eric. He said he was in his studio working with the video running, and he was listening to the birds in the background in the last video. And I said, they were so distracting. And right now thunder's going off in the background, and I'm thinking about something. All of a sudden I hear thunder, and my mind, like a little squirrel, goes, thunder. That's what was happening yesterday. I'd be talking to you, and all of a sudden, and the birds would just get louder and louder. It was like, birds, birds. So I hope you can see this. I'm just wiping out some of the black gesso that I just laid down. Why? Because it gets more confusing, and I like to be confused. And also it allows me to soften some of the lines, push them around, like I just made this curve here. And they're not going to really mean anything in the end. Although it's really interesting when the figure or the images within the reference material lines up with some of these lines. When I do this, I get these fabulous brush strokes that I don't get if I just come in straight with the black gesso. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, see? To me, it's poetry. It's visual poetry. Except when I do that. Okay. Which I do quite a bit. All right, we'll pick that up later. There goes my black gesso all over the floor. That's why we can't have nice things. I've got black gesso all over the floor and splattered on the bottom of the painting. Oh, I'm gonna have some cleaning up to do. Look at that. So just like in the painting, I've got lines within lines. I've got lines within lines. And the gradations are just gonna really help the image as it moves along, instead of just going on white canvas, which I find so boring. So boring. And this is the other thing. I think the camera keeps tilting downwards just a little bit. You'll have to excuse me if my entire head disappears and the entire canvas. I'm working with a stand that wasn't meant to hold an iPad, but then again, I've been doing that for a couple years now. Band-aiding the way along. But this is the main reason I work on two canvases. I tell people it's for shipping, it allows for hanging, allows the work to be hung different ways. But it really is, so I keep myself entertained. Whoopsie-doos. But I can see the work differently by turning canvas, turning canvas, turning canvas. It allows me to see the work differently. In new directions. I do it even on a large canvas. Paint one way, turn it, paint, turn it, paint, turn it, paint, turn it. And I take the image, which I keep on iPads, and turn them as well. I used to do this when I Xeroxed images and blew them up. You know, it would allow me to hold them and turn them. But I just keep the image, keep taking the images and turning them, keep taking the canvases and turning them. And that ensures that in the end, the image will be completely balanced. It will register in balance, as being in balance to the viewer and to me. And let's face it, I'm very important. Take a little gesso off the floor. So this seems really dumb because no one's going to see this. This will literally be covered with paint in a couple of days, but this is as important to me as the main image. Having this chaos, for some reason, having the chaos, knowing the chaos is underneath the painting just makes the entire adventure of painting more exciting to me, more death-defying. I don't know. It's just something. It just does something for me. And like I said, if the image lines up with some of the lines, which they do a lot of the time, they will just happen to match up. It's fun. It's even more fun. It's like magic has happened. Okay, I'm glad this place has tile floors. Okay, there's something that's clicking in my head. Meaning, there's something in my head that's connecting with what's going on right now on the canvas. So just so you can see where we are right now, this space is driving me nuts. That's what's happening. That's what's happening in my head. I don't want that much white canvas showing. It doesn't work for me. So what I do sometimes is what I'm doing now. I'll take these black, paper towels that have black gesso all over them, and I'll kind of brush in. It almost looks like charcoal. And it feels better in my head. It's easier for me to think when I don't have when I'm not staring at white gesso. If find gesso to be so pedestrian. Oh, listen to me, being a snob. But like so many people, I thought that's all, was our only choice, was white gesso. I thought that was it. That's how the painting starts. Or that, I guess that is how they start. But anyway, that you can alter it. Now this cheapo sponge brush that I have, the gesso that's on it is pretty dry. So I get to mark, I just get to draw whatever shape I want. It is very much like charcoal in look and feel. Or pen and ink, like the illustrator, what was it, Stedman, who did those pen and ink drawings. Okay, my head. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. He's famous for illustrations for that book. Anyway, I think it's Stedman. With this dry brush, I'm getting these really choppy lines. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. Funsies. I have a feeling my neighbor is going to be coming over to talk to me in a sec. She's walking around the backyard doing stuff. Let me show you where we are. Ooh. Sorry. So this is where we are right now. I'm going to finish this up, start the second canvas, Brian. Bring it to this level and then start putting in the figure in aerosol paint. But in the meantime, this is where we are, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the gift. Thank you everyone for all your support. I really appreciate it. Like I said, we don't know what we mean to each other. We don't know what we mean. And you, Brian, you have no idea how this is going to keep me lifted for the next few days to week. So just, I can keep painting. And I have a reason. I have a reason to keep, I have a reason to exist. So thank you. I'm sorry to be overly dramatic, but it's true. It's true. Without painting, what's the purpose? So, all right, I'm gonna end this now. Maybe we'll do a studio mate in another state tomorrow. That might be fun. Since I am apparently trying to be more social than I have been in months. Okay, I'm gonna stop. So we'll just keep doing this. Anyway, I'm Beck Lane. This is Catalys Co. Ooh, it's been almost 50 minutes. Wow, we haven't done a video that long in a while. I'm Beck Lane. This is Catalys Co. If you'd like to help support Catalys Co., all the links are down below. There are links to Michaels, Amazon, Cash App, PayPal, as well as TeePublic, where you can buy images of my work on t-shirts, tote bags, coffee mugs, pillows. You can sleep with my image of Frida Kahlo, my painting of Frida Kahlo. You can sleep with my painting of Yayoi Kusama, or you can wear her on your chest, or as a mask. It's a mask. Look, I'm Jeff Goldblum. Anyway, TeePublic, and some other stuff. And if you would like pricing on any of the work that you've seen here or on my website, which is linked down below too, you can contact Jay at Blue Egg Gallery or Andrew and Mark at Chasen Galleries, and their information is down below as well. Just I want to say thank you to everybody. I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate it, and thank you, Brian, again. And Bill, I can't wait for my Father's Day gift to come. Not that he thinks I'm his dad. Duh. It's just that we share the same last name, and we've been talking for a long time, and he wanted to share a pint, as he put it, share a pint of Neo McGilp. He's got his pint of Neo McGilp, and I'll have mine. Clink. Anyway, Carrie, ready to go? All right, all the best. Ciao. Mirror, mirror, mirror. Boink.